Hello everybody. So today I want to show you how to create an abstract ERD. Just a simple table that we can create. We're not going to worry about things like the data types or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get started by coming over here to LucidChart. And I'm going to come in here and just select my first entity field. Now, if you don't have any relationships set up, there's a previous video that you can look at how to add that to our shapes. And you'll notice I only like to keep the shapes that I'm going to be using, so I'm going to just drag this over here like that. Now, you might say, okay, great, but what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm going to come over here first and change what's the entity that I'm going to create. So this is going to be a single object, and then the attributes, or the fields if you prefer, are going to be what describes it. So my entity in this example is going to be customer. So I'm going to have customer like that. And as a habit, I always name my tables, which is what this entity is going to represent, to be plural because it holds not one customer, but multiple customers. So I'm going to say customers. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what attributes do I need in order to describe a customer? So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to look at things like, for example, a customer ID. This is going to be a unique identifier, how I identify my customer. I'm going to have things like first name and last name. I don't want to have just a full name. That tends to cause some confusion. I always prefer to have those separated out. Now, I don't have enough fields here. I need other things. I need things like maybe an address, and maybe things like an email address and a phone number, and other things I might need. All depends upon how am I going to use this? What am I going to do with this? So I'm going to take a look at my fields over my right-hand side, and I'm going to just bump this up, and I can just kind of come in here like that, just bump it up to 8, for example. And I'm going to have email, phone number, street address, city, finally postal code. So you might say, well, do you mean zip code? Well, postal code is a little bit more universal. It's used in a lot more countries. So if we're going to do something where we're going to be in multiple countries and shipping into them, then I'll often use postal code. If I'm only going to be something inside the United States, then I'll look at maybe using something like zip code. So here's a real simple example of customers. Now, could I need additional things? Why, yes, I could. I could have things like maybe the last time they logged in, or the last time they ordered from us, or I might have, some other piece of information that I need that's unique to my business. This is just a generic thing. And it is very abstract because I'm not listing my data types. Like, for example, my customer ID, is that a number? Is that a GUID string? Is that maybe the email address that we're using? Other things I could look at like that. I have to always ask myself, I'm probably going to use varchars if I know much about my database, but I don't know that yet for sure. And so these are type of things that I don't get. This is very, very abstract, and it's a great way just to kind of get started. So if you're looking to create a simple entity, this is how you can do it inside of an entity relationship diagram. It's just one entity. In our next video, I'm going to show you how to create relationships between two entities. That way you get the real power of a relational database. That is how data relates to one another. So look for that video coming up so you can see how to establish relationships in an abstract ERD.